Georgia State College for Women stood at the crossroads of
tradition and transformation, a place where young women pursued education, navigated societal change, and built the foundations of their futures. This is a story of one of those women, my grandmother, and the legacy she helped create.
My name is Kitty Hanson Reeves. I'm from Canton, Georgia. I'm originally from Madison, Georgia.
You attended the Women's College of Georgia in 1963, correct? I know you have an interesting story about how your family saved for college. Would you mind sharing that with me?
No, not at all. It started with my dad overheard some of my older sister's friends saying they were going to college, and he thought, well, how am I going to send her to school? I don't have any extra money, so he built a chicken house. Not just a little chicken house, a chicken house with probably around 10,000 chickens to pay her tuition. And then when I came along, tuition had gone up. He built a second chicken house. And then when my younger sister came along, he built the third chicken house. So we were selling a lot of chickens by the time. But that's how he paid our tuition. The cool thing is, the first chicken house, he actually built it by hand himself.
Oh, wow.
He built the whole thing.
I know you went to Wells. Will you tell me about it?
Well, my first year, freshman, I was at Terrell, and then they built the new Wells, and we were in the very first group of kids or women to be at Wells, and it was just a little two-story building. It's not what it looks like today. We lived on the second floor, and there wasn't suites with your own bathroom. We had like a general bathroom down at the end with showers for everyone. And at night you just head down there to take your shower. You had to take your things with you and walk back up. Mm-hmm. But it was a nice place. It was brand new. It was really nice. There were lots of fun people in there.
As we kept walking down all of those stairs, you said that you were always in a rush.
Mm-hmm. We were always, rushing to get back. Well, for one thing, shall I tell them about the bats?
Oh yes, of course.
We lived on the third floor, and the bats would come out of the attic. So some mornings they would be swooping, so you'd have to run down the stairs in a hurry to get away because you didn't want to run into a bat. And I'll say this about a telephone too: there was no such thing as a cell phone, and there was one phone on the hall. And if someone called you, then they would yell down the hall that you had a phone call, and you could run down there and answer it. Or if you wanted to call your parents or somebody, it's a pay phone, so you'd have to either have money to call, or you'd have to have your parents say, we accept the charges.
Oh.
But there was no phones in the rooms.
Will you tell me about the radiators? Will you tell me about that?
The rooms were heated with radiators, and for breakfast we would take a toaster or a Pop-Tart and put them on the radiators and warm them up, and that's what we'd have for breakfast.
What was the registration process like when you were a student?
Oh, it was quite confusing. You had a bulletin, and you could go through the bulletin to see what it was that you could take, and then we all went into this, I guess it was the gym that we were in, mm-hmm. and there were individual tables all set up, and you went from table to table trying to forget your course. If you get in line, if you get there and it's gone, then you got to go and get in another line. And it was really hard.
How were roommates assigned? Did students have a say in the process, or was it randomly assigned?
In the freshman year, I had no say. I was just sent someone to room with.
Yeah.
And I roomed with that person for a couple of months, and then I made friends with some folks, and then that's when I started just having friends and making my own roommates.
Yeah. Did you have any roommate horror stories?
Actually, no. They were all pretty good.
Huh.
I got along pretty well. The only thing was one girl that kept wanting to wear my clothes. And I didn't have that many, so I really didn't want to share them. Mm-hmm. That was about it.
That would definitely upset me.
I know I had a new sweater that my mother had just given me, and she got in my closet and wore my new sweater before I had a chance to even wear it. And I saw it made me angry, yes.
Speaking of clothes, what was the honor code with dress code?
Well, with dress code, you could not wear pants or shorts or anything like that off campus, or you could wear it to like a physical ed, activity. or any kind of activity that said it was acceptable. You could not go downtown with shorts or pants on. It was strictly you had to wear a dress or skirt.
Was there like lots of pushback with that?
No, because everybody seemed to do the right thing. Like, for example, if we wanted to go downtown, we had on shorts, or we just put on a raincoat. No one ever knew. You know, if you had on a raincoat, you were okay.
College traditions can leave such a lasting impression. I know that Rat Week was a big part of freshman year. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was actually kind of fun. I didn't mind it at all. You just had to wear this beanie, signifying that you were a freshman. And then you know, in different things you'd go in to eat, and you have to stand and sing and do all silly little things like that. But it was people were pretty nice. It was not bad to me.
Another college tradition was the senior hike. What was that like?
Well, it was kind of fun because the two different classes get a theme for your hike, and you dress up, get to wear anything you wanted to wear. We would hike down to the field that they would have. Sometimes it would be flag football. Sometimes it'd be another sport. Usually it was flag football, and you'd play against the faculty, and and we come back home. We'd have a bonfire and roast hot dogs, marshmallows. It was just a big fun day. It was just kind of a kickoff.
The Golden Slipper Award was a prestigious honor at Georgia State College for Women, recognizing senior women for outstanding leadership, character, and service for the college community. The award emphasized integrity and excellence and was determined through nominations and voting by faculty and students. You won the Golden Slipper Award your senior year, which is such an honor. What did that award mean to you personally, and how was the winner chosen?
Well, it began with we all sat down and we put our heads together to decide what we wanted to do as a group. I was a senior, and then we worked with the sophomores. And we came up with a theme, I think, was one thing leads to another. And as you have to put music with it and make the whole thing proceed like one thing's going to lead to another. And that's how we made the whole thing work through. And being able to work and have everybody just pitch in, we made the scenery, we made the costumes, we put the music to our own words, we picked that out, and then we put on a production for two nights, and they give points for costumes, for originality, for the music that we had, for the theme that we thought what lesson we were trying to teach, and you get points for that, and that's how we were able to win. We even had a plane flew from the balcony onto the stage, and I don't think that had ever been done. So, and we all worked together to do it, and we made up our songs, and everybody sat in the audience and they sang even if you weren't on stage, and it was just really it was a high mark at school, and everybody was. If you won the Golden Slipper, then you got to gloat on it the rest of the year.
What was your role as class president, and what were some of the challenges you faced in leadership?
Organizing the Golden Slipper was the top one because we took a couple of weeks to make that work. Just working with my group to make sure that everything went off for the Christmas. We had a Christmas pageant. We had a dance in the spring. We had the annual hike and selecting people who would help work with that. All of those things and working together just kind of pulled that together. It was quite an honor. I was really proud to have been elected president of my senior class.
What were common career opportunities for women during your time in college?
Well, you could be a nurse and secretary and a teacher, but there weren't that many other opportunities.
What made you want to be a teacher?
Well, I didn't want to be a secretary or a nurse.
What was your experience like with Dr. Lounsbury as a professor? I know that the School of Education now is named after him, so he must have had a significant impact. Did you ever have him as a professor?
Yes, I did have him as a professor. He was quite a character, and he was really outspoken. He really motivated everyone to try to get in there and find out what your kids want, where they are, what can you do to make life better for them, and how can you improve yourself to make sure that you're delivering the message to those kids and that you're getting to every kid, not just a few. Make sure that everyone is a student that you're attending to.
Yeah. I feel like that would definitely have an impact on me as a student. Did you ever use those teachings throughout your career?
I did. I'm sure I did. Start out with that, and then just you grow. You know, the more you do, the more you grow.
Nowadays, the students in the education cohorts do their student teaching in Milledgeville. But from what I understand from you, you had to actually live in Atlanta and student teach there. So will you tell me about that?
Yeah, I moved to Atlanta, and my third quarter in Fort Women's College, I was living in Atlanta and teaching in Fulton County, in an actual Fulton County school.
So did a lot of your friends go to Atlanta with you, or was there...
Well, we did, but they all went to different places. I didn't see... Fulton County was so large, they went to all different schools, and kind of was an ending point. We came back at the end, the last week of the quarter, saw each other and graduated, and from that point on, many of them I never saw again.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is kind of sad.
Did you student teach at all in Milledgeville?
Yes, there's just like a little small school there that was affiliated with the college, and most of the kids there were children of the faculty, and they weren't the best of kids because they knew we were all students. So that's where I did my first. I taught. I think it was 5th grade.
As the college began transitioning to co-education in the late 60s, what was the general feeling among students about these changes?
Well, that kind of happened after me. It was a couple of years after. I think most of the people that I had gone to school with thought it was not a good idea. They really didn't think that would be, the desired goal of the kids that I had, gone to school with, on students. On the other hand, my younger sister went 2 years after me, and I picked her up, and it was a co-ed school, not where I had gone to school, and it was totally different, just totally different. So I think most people really didn't want it to happen, my age group.
What does it mean to you that I've walked the same paths and studied at the same college where you experienced your own journey?
Well, I just loved it. I love that you have kind of come down and been in. You didn't really follow in my footsteps, but you went where I went, and I'm just so proud of you.
Oh, thanks, Grandma. What was that like for you? Just like going back through the past?
I was surprised at how much I remembered, that I could actually find the rooms the dorm rooms that I was in, that I remembered the numbers. I was kind of surprised. And the school has changed somewhat because it built new buildings that I did not recognize, and buildings that I did have classes in, some of them were gone. But it reminded me of some of the friends I had and some of the experiences I had. And then my college experience was one of the best times in my life. I would enjoy it all 4 years. I met a lot of nice people. I made a lot of good friends. And it certainly held me in good stead with my job. I became a teacher, and it has certainly done me well in my life.